Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. This episode of Welcome Home is brought to you by DVC Resale Market. Thank you for joining us on episode 258 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom. I'm here with Trevor. What's going on, man?
Not much. We
just talked like a lot before we started the podcast.
Yeah. We started going into the conversation, and then we realized that we should actually like have this conversation on the podcast because that's where we should be having these conversations and not speculate. We were in like way deep in rumor and speculation land, I guess. For anyone that's wondering. And we'll come back around to it. But yeah, we kind of started going down a rabbit hole, which I think is why we do this podcast in the first place. But
because we like going down the rabbit holes.
Yeah. We should actually record it. There was a pun in there too, but we can touch on that in a minute.
It is pretty funny. Yeah, no, I heard the rabbit thing. We really love like doing like kind of ridiculous speculation and stuff like that. So that's one of those things we're going to do this episode.
Yeah.
Anyway, but to start off, we've got a rumor actually to start us off today.
A DVC rumor, which this one I think has a little bit more.
This feels like it's happening. This feels like it's happening, right?
Yeah.
So the rumor is that DVC is going to start giving out $200 gift cards to resort guests who tour the property, one of the properties. So reports indicate Disney Vacation Club will soon start giving Walt Disney Resort hotel guests $200 gift cards if they take the 30-minute tour. The offer will be available starting March 31st, which is, if you're listening to this now, it was yesterday. So this rumor is confirmed or not. We're talking about it before it's happened. But if it's available, then great. I seem to remember them doing this in the past. I feel like when I did my tour, we got a gift card.
Yeah. And just so it's clear that this is for non-DVC members. So so you have to be staying at the Walt Disney Resort and not already be a DVC member to qualify for this. So it's not that you can, show up and just get a tour and get $200 because that would be crazy if you did that as a DVC member. But yeah, you're right. I'm pretty sure they've done this or something like this in the past because I mean, like this for as long as I can remember about like timeshares and stuff, this is how a lot of them do things, right? I think back to, in the 90s, I remember my parents actually going to a timeshare presentation and the gift from it was like a nice camera, right? And so the whole thing was, they had to go and listen to the presentation, and then they got a camera at the end, which they were just there for the camera because, back then, cameras were back when they actually had like film and stuff like that, which is really, really long time ago. But
it's been a while. Well, you say that though, but like my daughter for her birthday, my sister bought her this like mini Polaroid camera. Like Polaroids made like this weird kind of comeback, Yeah.
Polaroids have, but not like film. Like people don't go for like the old like film cameras.
Where would you even get film developed nowadays? Like, is there a place you could even get it done? Like.
Oh, I know of 3 places in my city where I could go get film developed. Yeah.
Okay.
Because there are still like specialty camera places, but yeah, that's exactly as their specialty and all that. But yeah, back to the whole like reason we're talking about cameras was, it was a ploy by the timeshare company to get people in the door, and this seems to be the same kind of thing that Disney is doing. Is that, or again, this is the rumor, is that they're offering people, hey, we'll give you a gift card, which, it really doesn't hurt them because you're still spending money. A $200 gift card sounds like you're getting free money, but the reality is you're probably going to spend $700 or $800 anyway. And that that $200 is really just a gateway into you spending more money.
Potentially spending thousands more. Yeah. I mean, it just, it kind of reminds me of like the stereotypical timeshare thing. It's like, oh, we'll give you a free weekend and, you just have to take the tour. I mean, I guess I'm always thinking of like the South Park episode where they go up to the mountains and they keep trying to get away from the salespeople and they keep coming back, like keep getting brought back again. But like, listen, I seem to remember us getting quite a bit. I remember we got like free fast passes, I think, like at the time. There was like
they've always done like it was either like fast passes and ice cream and they'll do pretty much anything to entice people to come and check out DVC.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day is like you said, they're there to sell DVC, and all of these other little things like even giving away $200 for a tour is really not of any real consequence to the overall money that they could make from somebody buying into DVC.
Oh yeah, 100%. Right? Yeah. Listen, the free ice cream was the thing that really got me. So that was.
We all have different priorities.
They're like, oh, you can come get some free ice cream at our ice cream. I'm like, oh, ice cream. Okay, we can sit for a little while and talk about this, so I can get some ice cream. That's actually not really reason.
That's actually why I like, or I don't know if I told you this when we were on our trip. We did go to Salt and Straw. Right, I finally got my family to go there, and we walked in there, and my wife was immediately like looking at the board, and I'm like, I want to try that flavor, like because they have they do the sample thing there.
Yeah, they do the you can taste it,
and they're pretty like they encourage it. So kind of on the same level is like, hey, I'll go there because, I'm still buying the ice cream, but, we get more free ice cream on top of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I like Salt and Straw too. I want to stop back there since we're going to be the first night that we're on our trip. We're going to be eating at Homecoming in Disney Springs. So
nice. Yeah,
I thought we might take a little trip over to Salt and Straw afterwards and maybe get some ice cream if we're in the mood. But it's really weird, Trevor, because like, I've got this trip coming up, and I saw somebody post, something the other day, because one of the blogs like posted an article like, bring back old Fast Pass, right? Okay, great. Mm-hmm. And part of me agrees, but part of me is also like, it's been kind of nice not planning anything. Like, I bought my tickets like a couple weeks ago. I didn't have to do it like 6 months ahead of time. I didn't I could just, all I had to do was my dining reservations and of course the rooms, but that was easy enough. And the dining reservations was one day. Like, I don't know. There was something about planning so far ahead of time with the fast passes is like, do I really want to figure out which park I'm going to be in 6 months ahead of time? I don't know.
I mean, you're right. It's a whole other level of stress, right?
And
then it's the whole, I felt that on our last trip, but it wasn't until the day of because of the fact that you couldn't book anything ahead of time. But then there was the stress of, getting into virtual queues and booking lightning lanes and all that, which it is the same thing. It's just, you're not thinking about 60 days out. And I'll be honest though,
is you're doing this the day of.
Yeah. I'll be honest. Like the difference for me, and this is a little bit of mental gymnastics, which, people can, argue it works or it doesn't work. But, outside of, obviously paying for lightning lanes is one thing, and, missing those times hurts if you have to. But, when it comes to like fast passes and stuff, it felt a lot worse previously when, you would book stuff 60 days out, and you felt like you did all this work and you did all this planning ahead of time. And then when you got to the day of, if your group was like, I don't really want to go to this park, or I'm not feeling well or whatever, you feel like your time is wasted. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas like when we were there and like, I had the discussion there was a couple of times where I was like, hey, we're planning to do this, or do we want to go do this? And, my party was like, we're not feeling it. It's like, okay, well, I'm just not going to book this then. And it was, and, we just kind of walked away from it, and it felt a lot nicer, not, giving up that day worth of planning versus giving up months worth of planning. Right. Like,
yeah, exactly. I said 6 months and I meant 60 days. But you know what I mean.
Feels like 6 months. Sometimes it feels like 6 months.
Wasn't dining reservations 6 months at one point? What was 6 months? Something was 6 months.
I think dining was. ADRs used to be really far. Yeah, because it was ADRs were, I thought they were like 3 months, and then fast passes were 2 months or something like that.
Yeah. It was 180 days before. I'm right. Okay, so it was. In the past, it was 180 days, and then when COVID rolled around, they put it down to 60. But yeah, I mean, that's what it was. It was 6 months was for the dining reservations, and that was hard too. Like
yeah. Again, it's that's the whole thing, right? Is it's the whole idea that the old fast pass system was better only because of the fact that it was free. And I think that's the thing people are latching onto is like that it was free. It's like, okay, fine. You just don't want to pay for Genie Plus and Lightning Lane's fair. I don't,
it's fair. I don't want to pay for it either. So
I don't blame you, but I also would argue that the old fast pass system was not any better because you lost out on your time investment. Like it's time versus money, right? And
exactly.
And I guess I felt worse about losing my time and my energy around it versus, fine. If I had to suck up $20, I suck up $20. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I get that. I mean, truthfully, on this upcoming trip, I mean, there's some days that it's supposed to be pretty low crowds when we're going to be there. And, I don't know if I'm going to buy Genie Plus every day. I might not. Like
we didn't buy it every day. We kind of made that decision on a day by day basis and based on where we were planning to go. Like there was like Animal Kingdom was like, no, we're not doing that. We don't need to.
Yeah, Animal Kingdom, it's a waste. No, it's a waste. I do have to say, my daughter was watching. My daughter likes to watch like YouTube videos of like influencers like doing stuff at Disney, which drives me insane. But but she was watching. They were the influencer family was going on Flight of Passage, and my daughter's like now tall enough to go on Flight of Passage. And I said to her, I was like, oh, so we're gonna do this? And she's like, yeah, I want to do this. And I'm like, okay. Like now I can actually like do stuff with her. Like we haven't done Flight of Passage in years just because my daughter wasn't tall enough, so we just didn't prioritize it, so like a bunch of the stuff that we really haven't done in a while we're going to get to do now because my daughter's tall enough and she wants to do it. So I'm excited for this trip specifically because my daughter is talking a big game. She's talking a big game ahead of time. She's like, I want to go on all the roller coasters, I want to go on all the rides. It's like, all right, let's do it. Let's see what happens. So,
the question is will you be able to handle it?
Well, no, yeah, I will. I go on pretty much everything. I mean, there's only a few things I don't. Oh
no, so there's going on everything and then going at the pace that your kids want to go at.
Oh yeah. Well, no, listen, she gets real tired, man, in the afternoon. I don't know. She's gonna be. I think we're actually. I asked this in the Discord. And I would love to hear in the group what people think about this. My daughter will be 6 by the time we go to Disney this year. And I'm a little torn on the stroller conversation, right? She's 6 years old at this point. But when we went to Legoland and the one day at Disney in November, kind of needed the stroller. Like she was getting real tired and, it was kind of nice to have the stroller there. So it's, yeah.
So, okay, I guess we never did a stroller for our son, and the first time we took him was when he was 4. And we did a couple of trips to Disneyland. Now, also understanding that the Disney World it's a lot bigger, but I mean, I guess my only argument, my arguments against it are that it's far less for you to have to deal with, like getting on and off of buses is a lot easier. Just generally moving around becomes a lot easier.
I agree.
The way that I handled it, because my son, when he was that age, he did get tired. And I mean, I guess this is up to you. Is I just carried him. Like when he got tired, I would piggyback him, or there was a couple of nights where he was so tired, like I picked him up and I just was like holding him and he fell asleep on my shoulder kind of thing. And, we walked back to the hotel with me carrying him, and it definitely, I was sore for it, but, but it was fine because, we still had a good time, and he still was we still got him to do as much as he could do without, pushing him into full on meltdown because, that happens with kids that age. But
Yeah.
I guess every kid's different, right? I guess I don't know if, I guess you kind of have to decide what the trade-off there is. If you're doing the stroller, it is a lot more production than just, the three of you walking around, right?
Yeah, no, and I totally agree with that. And I want to go without the stroller, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also just thinking, I know my daughter, and I know my daughter does not love the heat and will, tend to want to not want to walk anymore after a certain amount of time. But again, I almost feel like I need to be like, listen, you need to walk. I almost don't want her to have the crutch of having that available to her. But I don't know. Part of me wants to just bring it with us and then start off without using it and then see if we need it, But
yeah, that's fair too. Is you could just leave it back at the room, and then if you find that it's not working, then the next time you go out, you plan for it, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking that we might do. I don't know. But truthfully, if we don't take the stroller, we can actually take a different car to, because we're driving, obviously. and the stroller's so big and bulky that if we take my car, we can't probably bring the stroller. But if we bring the stroller, then we need to take my wife's car, which is fine. It doesn't matter. But it would, we have a preference and we prefer to take my car. So I don't know. It's a hard question to deal with. I just don't know what the right answer is at this point, because it's a weird age, but I do feel like she's a little old for it at this point, because we don't use the stroller for anything anymore. It doesn't get used at all. So, at this point she feels a little old for it. But again, like you said, every kid is different. And I also don't know if I want to be carrying her around all the time,
Yeah. And I guess, you said the part about, her saying that she doesn't want to walk anymore. I think maybe part of it too is that when they know the options there,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
They'll kind of, they'll take advantage of it. They'll be like, hey, I don't have to walk, so I'm just going to dig my heels in and say I'm done. And then, she goes in the stroller. Whereas if the stroller's not even there, kids kind of, they'll just go with it, right? Like I said, with my son, I think back to when he was 6, we were running all over the place. And this was back even when Disneyland was still doing paper fast passes too. So I was doing the, running for fast passes and all that, which
I still don't understand the argument of the people that want to go back to that, but that's neither here nor there.
but the thing is that, we still managed him and I, because even when he was at that age, there was a lot of rides that, I was the main ride goer because my wife can't do certain rides.
Yeah.
So I was still able, he was, we were getting him on all the rides. He kind of, I felt like the difference between 4 and 6 was, by the time he was 6, he kind of had enough, endurance that we got pretty far into the day before he was done. And we didn't even have to do the, naps or anything with him at 6.
Oh yeah,
but,
I said, my daughter doesn't take naps anymore. She's way past naps. But
although the funny thing is with our teenage son, he, we were doing naps when we were in Disney World because he's a teenager.
Funny how that comes back around.
Yeah, but we were all napping at that point because we were hot and tired and all that. But like I said, I guess the thing is that the kids, I guess, will kind of adapt to the situation that they're in. And maybe that's something to think about too, is you're kind of worried about, how she has handled things, but if she knows that this time is different or that this is a different situation, I wouldn't necessarily assume she'll default to well, we really need the stroller. But like I said, I think you also have to concede too that, when it came to my son, it was, I just picked him up and carried him. And, and listen, all I'll say is, lift some weights before you go, because then you're ready for it, right?
every time I come back from Disney with my daughter, I have back problems, because she's on my shoulders, she's doing piggyback rides, and I was carrying backpacks and strollers, and
Yeah, I found the piggybacks were the easiest, but then there was times where I had the backpack and I was also carrying him. And the thing about the backpack too was that the backpack was heavy enough that it actually distributed the weight.
Oh, so you were
fairly
like
evenly.
You had the weight on the front and the back, and it was like, weighing.
Yeah, so I was relatively balanced when that happened.
Nice, I like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would love to hear what people in the group have done with their, because I got a couple of responses on the Discord as far as like the stroller situation, but I would love to hear what people in the group also have to say about when they stopped. It feels like it's a good poll. It's like a good poll question right there. Yeah. So we should do a poll on that. But
I feel like past a certain age that your kids should, if they want the stroller, they also have to be able to push the stroller with you in it, because it gets tiring, and sometimes you need a break too, right?
Well, I think I said this, Trevor, like, a couple of years ago when we did the meetup and you and I were just there, that like how weird it felt for me to be on the bus with nothing. Mm-hmm. Like, because we just like went to the park with just whatever was in our pockets, and I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah, just it's not. Yeah, like that's where we're at too. It's like, the last trip it was like we would go back to a park at night, and it's like, well, I'm not taking the backpacks or anything, because the backpacks are really just for like carrying fans and stuff like that. So it was like, yeah, you just kind of walk in with whatever you got on you, and it's
just a weird freedom.
It feels weird, because I know what you mean, because we were the same way that, we had the stroller and all that. And when you finally like graduate from that, it feels like you become a real boy again.
Well,
I'm a real person. I don't have to
stand in the dad stroller section of the bus, where the handicap door is.
Doing the strong arm where you're trying to balance the stroller and not fall over.
Holding the stroller with one arm, holding the pole with the other one, trying not to fall over. Nodding at the other dad standing across from you. Just acknowledging. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I never had to do that at Disney, but we did have like I'd gone into other places where like hauling the stroller and all that, and it's a pain, and it's great, but then once you don't have to do it anymore, you look at those dads with the stroller and you're like, I don't miss that.
Well, that actually happened to me one time too with with car seat, right? Like, so we've flown with my daughter before and brought her car seat, and I bought like this like case that you can check that you can put your car seat in, and it has like straps on it so you can carry it on your back, but you look like an idiot, carrying around a giant car seat.
Like a Sherpa.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I'm walking around the airport with this giant thing on my back, and I see another dad with the same thing, and we just kind of locked eyes for a second and just gave a little nod, just a little nod.
Yeah.
Glad you look as stupid as I do. Yeah, it's just one of those funny things. But personally, I would love to not bring the stroller. Like, if we didn't have the stroller, that would be amazing. The only other positive of the stroller is the storage. You get like there's the whole underneath part where you can just throw stuff, but you can just do a backpack instead. It's fine.
Yeah, and then you got to worry about like leaving the stroller places, and I hate to say it, but stroller theft is a big problem at Disney World.
I've never had anything stolen from my stroller, but I understand that. Like,
if we have any merch,
if we had any merch in there, though, we would put it in our back. Like, if we left our stroller, we would put it in our backpack, like, and bring the backpack with us just to make sure. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we would never leave anything valuable in the stroller. But I also put a tracker on my stroller too, just in case someone, decided to steal it. Not that it's this particularly nice stroller, but you never know.
Yeah, but I saw some stories a while back of somebody did that where they tracked their stroller and they actually caught the person, and the person tried to play dumb as like, well, where's my stroller or whatever. But I guess they kind of figured out that this was a routine thing that this person did, where they would steal strollers, but then and it wasn't even about like the contents of the stroller. They would take the stroller and then go and like list it on Craigslist or whatever.
They had like a whole thing, like a whole crime ring.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not even a matter of the stuff in your stroller. It's also your stroller can get taken too. Which
let's not have that happen.
Yeah, don't want to be a downer, but that's a reality too. Of the more stuff you take with you, the more chance you have to have stuff taken from you. Right?
True. I guess my other alternative too is not bringing our stroller, and then if we decide we need one, we can always just rent one, but that's more money than I have to spend, and I prefer not to. But
I mean, how much is it to rent a stroller for a day?
For a day, one day is not that bad, but we're going to be, we bought tickets for 7 days or 8 days. Yeah. So, but you could pay for a whole trip ahead of time, instead of just by day, and it's a little cheaper, but I don't know. Yeah. Maybe we'll just do that. We haven't really thought about it yet.
I'm just thinking, cause if there's a day where it's particularly bad and you need the stroller, you do that, but then you kind of adjust past that. Like, if you start the next day later, or make sure that you've got brakes in there or whatever. I feel like, 1 or 2 days of a stroller is a better trade-off than having it the entire time. Right.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we talked enough about strollers, probably.
Yeah, we went all over the place there.
You know what, though? It's a good conversation. I think a lot of people can relate to this conversation, right? So, if anybody's had kids, there's a time where you're transitioning them off these things, and you have to figure out when that time is and what the consequences of those transitions are going to be, right? So, well, no. So the next thing we have, Trevor, is an interesting thing that a lot of people initially thought was something different than it was. But Joe Rohde, famous Imagineer who basically was the one that was responsible for all of Animal Kingdom. And a lot of other things. He obviously, he's like a Disney legend. I don't know if he's an official Disney legend, but he is up there. If he hasn't been acknowledged at that level yet, he's well on his way to being acknowledged as one of the legends. Yeah. And back in, I don't know if everybody realizes that this happened if you're not like a nerd and you don't follow these things. But back in when Chapek took over, whatever, a bunch of old Imagineers, quote unquote, retired. And, I always kind of had a feeling that a lot of them got other jobs afterwards. And, which tells me that they didn't really retire, that they were, pushed out. And
they just didn't like the management and they left, probably.
Yeah, basically. Or they were just trying to push out some of the older people and, have the cheaper new people in. I don't know. But a lot of the older Imagineers, retired during that time. And, there's a certain amount of, brain drain that happens with that, right? Like you lose a lot of that institutional knowledge as it's called, right?
Yeah.
And so, and what we're seeing now is because Iger is in charge again, and he brought back the what's his name, Bruce Vaughan, to head up Imagineering. Now we're starting to see some of the older Imagineers starting to come back again, right? Starting to come back again. And so Joe Rohde posted that he was a picture of him, or I think it was a video of him walking into Imagineering. And so a lot of people thought, oh, he's hired again. He's back. But then the Walt Disney Imagineering Instagram posted a picture of him and said, beginning this week, Imagineers have an opportunity to participate in a series of masterclass work sessions led by Joe Rohde. So it's basically he's doing classes there. But I think these are the kinds of things that they should do, and bring back some of those old people just as like consultants, or doing things like this, Yeah,
it's knowledge transfer, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, Disney does see the value in, like you said, those older Imagineers that have this knowledge, that have the experience of doing a lot of the things that guys like Joe have done, like, building like Pandora and stuff.
And an entire theme park. Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes sense that, Disney would want to try and capture that. Now the funny thing is, like you said, I think, I wouldn't treat it as, they've hired him back. I'm sure he's probably at a point where he has a consulting fee of some sort.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I'm sure he's working with Disney, but it's not working for Disney, which, he doesn't have to. He's very marketable, and he can, he's done lots of projects, both in North America and elsewhere. Like he's kind of worked all around the world with different companies on Imagineering type stuff, like theme park development. So, I assume Disney is, they're just trying to, like you said, close that gap of the brain drain that happened by getting some of the, and it's also good too, because, it gives the next generation the ability to learn from people that have already done this stuff, which, in a lot of industries that doesn't happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where, hey, this guy's been doing this job for like 30 years. And then, and I've seen this too. Like I've worked for a lot of different companies where, somebody gets all the way up to retirement and then that person retires. And then everyone's kind of going, well, wait, what did he do? Like they don't realize that, the guy had been working there for 30 years, had all this knowledge that never got transferred to anybody else. And then all of a sudden you see a gap of like, oh, actually, the work that he was doing needs to be filled by 3 to 4 people because nobody else learned how to do everything that he does. Right. So I feel like Joe's another one of those guys that, he knows a lot of stuff, and, Disney is trying to make sure that they get as much out of him.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. He also did one of the most legendary things of all time, I think, is, when he was trying to sell his idea for Animal Kingdom. And I'm sure that most people know this because this is like a kind of legendary thing. But at the time, Michael Eisner was like, oh, well, an animal park's not exciting enough. And so Joe Rohde showed up to the presentation meeting for Animal Kingdom with a live tiger. And he brought it into the boardroom. Yeah. So, which I mean, is just an amazing move.
that is, that's a flex move for sure.
It is, right? Like, who does that? Like, can you imagine? Like, I would be worried I would get fired if I'm bringing a live tiger into a meeting with the CEO of Disney.
I mean, the thing is that I guess if you're already in the door with Disney, it's kind of like, what do you got to lose at that point, right?
Yeah,
like I'm sure Joe probably saw that as it was like, you can either swing for the fences with this one, or back off. But when it comes to something as creative as theme park design, I feel like you have to swing for the fences, right? Like,
absolutely, yeah. I also didn't, in this picture that they have on Instagram here, I didn't take Joe Rohde for a, car keys on the carabiner on the belt loop kind of guy. That just feels out of character.
Why?
I don't know. It just does.
What's wrong with your car keys on a carabiner?
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I didn't take him to be that kind of guy. I mean, I guess he could like hang it from the loop in his ear where he's got all the other things. That's another place he could put it. I don't know. I just noticed that and I thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah. I guess, okay. I mean, I guess that's fair. Like I do keep my car keys on a carabiner as well, but I don't leave them hanging off my belt.
You don't have them on a belt loop? You just have,
no.
Yeah. Well,
I put them in my pocket, but the carabiner's there just to keep all the keys together.
Yeah. See, this feels more like, this is like, the cell phone, the belt, the belt clip for the cell phone. Like that's what it feels like
old,
to me, right?
The old, the belt clip.
Yeah. You pop that, phone into your belt clip and
it's the utility belt. Like,
do people still do that? Is that still a thing?
I haven't seen that in a while, actually, now that I think about it. I mean, that's very like Batman energy, right?
It is. Yeah, no, it really is. Yeah, like you said, the utility belt, right?
Yeah, so. I feel like people have traded that for the fanny packs or what they're calling them. What are they calling them now? Like it's still a fanny pack, but they're just wearing it across their body. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what they're called. I feel like I'm not cool enough to
they changed the name, but I still look at them and I go, that's just a fanny pack. Like,
yeah, it's just a fanny pack in a different way.
You just took a fanny pack and you're wearing it crossbody. Like that
made it kind of cooler somehow. I guess
it's just an updated look is all.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I feel like that's kind of traded out a lot of the people with the cell phone clips and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. All right, so one more thing here, and then we'll do our ad. So this is this news is not really like that exciting of news, but it is for me because I feel like it's hopefully maybe solving one of the pain points I have with the buses, and that's so Disney World's adding 90 new buses to their fleet. I don't really care about the wraps, whatever. But what's nice about these buses is that they are supposed to be easier for the scooters to get on and off of. Which,
oh, really?
Yeah, that's what they're saying here. It's supposed to be easier and quicker for people to get on and off with scooters.
And I noticed too, it looks like they can carry more scooters per bus too.
They carry 3 now. Yeah,
which I feel would help alleviate, especially during busier times if there's more buses and, they can transport more, like, because like you said, the loading and unloading of scooters does take a while. And I guess that, if they can get more on at a time, it's actually more efficient, even if it's
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've all been at that bus stop too, where there's like 4 scooters waiting too, right? Like it's, and then they have to wait for the next bus. It's not good for, those folks to have to sit there either. Yeah. So, the other part of this too is that there's USB ports for charging under your seat as well. So I know you're not a fan. You're not a fan of using those, right?
Yeah. I was going to say, do you actually use those? Cause I've never used those.
No, I'm not going to pull a cable out of my pocket and just like plug, I don't know. I just would never do that. I've got a power bank. I don't know, but some people will use it, I'm sure.
Yeah. I guess this is the problem is the IT person in me I've seen enough horror stories of people putting, like you can put a facing over top of a USB plug-in that looks like it's part of it. But then, you're skimming, data information off of people's phones and stuff like it just public USB ports just feel bad to me. I know it's Disney, right? Like this is the hard part. It's like you say, but it's a Disney bus, why would, but I wouldn't put it past somebody to, make it their job to just go and hook these things up so that they can steal data or steal, bank account information off your phone or something. Like, I know it sounds paranoid, but I just, selling me on, free USB ports is that's the least attractive thing about these buses.
Yeah. I get that. That's what I knew when I said it. I was like, yeah, Trevor's not going to be feeling that one.
Yeah. I can't even when we're at the airport, I don't plug into USB ports at the airport, even even though I know it, you got to go through security and all that. And again, the chances of somebody doing something to those ports that you find in the terminal are minimal. And really it's not though, because there's actually a lot of people that travel through those spaces. Same thing with Disney that I don't like the idea of plugging my phone into anything that I don't know where it came from.
No, I agree. All right, let's go ahead and but like I said, if this is more efficient, it's better for everybody, right? It's better for the folks on the scooters. It's better for the people that are waiting to get on the bus. I hope it actually is more efficient. I don't know if it really is, but from what I've read, it seems like that's part of the purpose of this. They have new accessibility features, and it seems to be an easier thing to do. So
now I also have to wonder too, because looking at the interior of these buses, the seats fold up, right?
They do, yeah.
So I wonder if ignoring scooters and whatnot, if they're during really busy times, if there's the potential for these to run at higher capacity, because technically you could fit more people on the bus if everybody was standing, which again, I know you say with families and stuff, that doesn't work out great. But I feel like it, there is the potential there that they could really if it was crazy busy and you're trying to get people, out of a park at the end of a day or something, it does actually increase the volume of the bus.
Yeah, no,
that's as uncomfortable as it is, right? But
I mean, they do, the buses they have now do have the seats that go up because they can put the seats up for the for the wheelchairs and scooters, right? So, I mean, so they theoretically could do that now, I guess. I feel like I almost feel like it's rare nowadays though to even get on a bus that doesn't have a scooter on it. It's pretty common, I feel like, at this point.
I mean, I'll say, when we were there, I'm trying to think back. I don't remember. I think there was maybe one time we got on the bus where there was a scooter waiting, but we also, again, this is the thing too, is that the times that we were getting on the buses, we were never doing road drop or anything like that. So
you're getting out at weird times. So you always had seats and
Yeah. So I think that maybe that's part of it too, is, depending on your time of day, you may run into more scooters than not.
And plus you're only using buses to get to Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom, right? Because you're taking monorail for Epcot.
And actually we never even took the bus back from Hollywood Studios because we just got on the Skyliner and went back.
Just got on the Skyliner and got on the monorail and head back from there.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I don't take the bus as much as I think I do.
Not as much as I am, apparently. I mean, I'm at Saratoga this coming up trip, so it's I'm going to be buses all the way. which is fine. I don't care. Buses are fine. All right.
Buses are good.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's do it.
The ad, yes.
All right, the sponsor of this episode is DVC Resale Market. DVC Resale Market, a World of DVC company, is the leader in the DVC resale industry with 13 former Disney Vacation Club guides and 3 former Disney Vacation Club quality assurance managers. If you're thinking of buying DVC, browse the largest selection of DVC resale listings anywhere, with DVC experts on hand 7 days a week to answer your questions. If you're thinking of selling, turn to the friendly professionals at DVC Resale Market, where over 98% of listings sell within 30 days. In 2023, DVC Resale Market helped over 4,400 families join or add on to their memberships. Go to dvcresalemarket.com/welcome home or call 1-844-DVC-PROS. That's 1-844-382-7767. And when you speak to them, be sure to let them know that Welcome Home sent you. All right. Let's talk about Tiana's Bayou Adventure. We're starting to get some details here.
Yeah, okay.
And we'll talk about some conspiracy theories.
Going down the rabbit hole that's no longer a rabbit hole.
But listen, it really is the rabbit hole because the character we're going to talk about is a rabbit. So
this is so layered. Holy.
Yeah, it is a rabbit.
So
yeah.
it used to be a rabbit hole, but now it's not. But then, okay.
Okay, yeah. So what they've released now. Okay, well, let's before we go down the rabbit hole and go through these conspiracy theories that we have. Let's just talk about, what they've announced, right? So, and first of all, we know it's going to open this summer, right? Which, if you've been following any blogs or anything like that, they are already testing, which has got to be, one of the last things that they're doing. The Imagineers are running through it and probably tweaking and all that kind of stuff. But it kind of seems like it's pretty much ready to go for the most part. They're still working on the queue, I think. But outside of that, I think, we're getting there. What we've been told now is about the new band that's going to be playing, the Critter Band. It's a group of critter musicians. Go ahead.
So just the interesting thing is that this is deviating from the Princess and the Frog movie.
It is. Yeah.
So they built a whole band of critters that are going to be playing the music as I believe this is like when you first come into the ride, like that's why they were kind of highlighting this, is that this is like the entrance to the ride. You're going to meet all these new critters, which I'm impressed at how much effort they put in. Like they've actually got like full on like cartoon, backstories, cartoon, like caricature stuff going on with them. Like
they all have, they have names too. They all have different names. So we have, what is it? Bihalia, the beaver.
Bihalia,
who's playing? Does it just play with its tail? Is that?
So she doesn't just build dam. She helps build musical instruments using the natural materials from the bayou.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's all it says. Apparently, she made all the instruments, but she's the only one without an instrument.
I mean, I could see her, like playing along with the tail or whatever. Then
she's banging on a log with her tail or something.
Yeah, exactly. Then we have Gritty the rabbit. Yeah. And Gritty is playing a washboard, which in this case is a license plate, which we're going to get into in a few minutes here. Yeah. We're really going to get into the license plate. But then there's Bo the opossum. Bo's playing, what do we got here? It looks like what is that? It's an upright gourd bass. Yeah.
So it's a homemade bass.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Apollo the raccoon. Yeah, I like the name Apollo.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I like to believe that Disney's just doing these for story things, but they're going to show up on merch, right? Like this is
guaranteed.
Yeah. This is going to be a merch thing. They're fleshing these out so they can sell shirts with Gritty the rabbit on it.
I'm here for it because
I am too. Yeah, no, it's good.
It's something unique to the ride, right? Like it's not just Princess and the Frog stuff. It gives the ride its own identity.
I actually didn't scroll down. They already have merch. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I scrolled down. They actually already have stuffed animals.
Okay. We just hadn't gotten there yet. Yeah.
I hadn't gone that far down in the article. Even when I read it originally, I didn't go that far. So
because the problem is I keep stopping at the cartoons they've drawn for them. It's like
they're very cool.
Kind of want to see a whole thing about these characters now.
Yeah, and so we also have Rufus the turtle, which playing a harmonica. Okay, cool. And then how do you say that? Tim Leon.
Tim Leon.
Yeah. Okay, the otter. And he's what is he playing? A fiddle, which I'm a big fan of a fiddle.
I kind of like him. I like his vibe.
Yeah, yeah. I also like these stuffed animals they have of these characters. They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
I could see even if my daughter didn't go on this ride, like she would probably dig one of these stuffed animals. Like they're pretty cool looking.
Mm-hmm.
So should we get into the conspiracy theories and
let's see if we can. Okay. Let's see what we can get out of this.
So I'm of the belief, and the internet is of the belief that Disney doesn't do things. They've been putting a lot of Easter eggs into things for a long time, and they've been doing it even more recently, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Gritty over here is playing a license plate that says on it says LA 23 space 52872. So a lot of people are reading a lot into these numbers, and listen, they should, because Disney's got this reputation for doing this. They've done this a lot.
There's lots of nods in their rides to various things like previous
opening
rides,
dates,
opening dates. Yeah, exactly. Right.
They do this a lot, so it's really not a stretch, right? And so I think the LA part is obvious because that's the abbreviation for Louisiana, right? Makes sense. 23. I mean, did they start construction in 23, or did that start in 22?
No, it started in 23.
Yeah,
because it was open when I went in 22, and I went at the end of 22. Or Splash Mountain was open at the end of 22.
Yeah, so that's probably what that means, right? I mean, that's probably what they're referencing there, I would think.
Yeah, so yeah, maybe that was like the start of the rebrand or something like that, and then 5/28 would be May 28th.
Yep.
But then what would the 72 be? That's the part that's
July 2nd.
July 2nd? Oh, maybe.
I mean, here's the thing.
Do you think that it's East and West Coast openings that they're hinting at?
Oh my gosh. I think you just cracked it, Trevor. I think you cracked it, right? So 5/28, because the Disney World ones are about a couple months apart, right? Like they didn't start work on Splash Mountain at Disneyland until much later than Disney World. And, Disney has said summer, right? And we're seeing it. A lot of it looks pretty done. And that's 2 months from now. Like that's a lot of time to do all the finishing touches. They said summer, and we know that they like to open things on holiday weekends, and I believe that's Memorial Day weekend, right? So
that's not summer though. 5/28 is still spring.
Technically, I guess. I don't know.
And 7/2 is summer.
Yeah. 7/2 is summer. Yeah. I don't know, man. That's a good point though. 5/28 for Disney World and 7/2 for Disneyland. I like it.
Could be, yeah.
It could be good.
I'm just trying to think those are the only dates that kind of
that jump out,
line up with it.
Yeah, because we talked about this before, right? It's not the 72 is not the year that Disney World opened, and it's also not the year that Splash Mountain opened, right? So it's not a reference to that.
Splash was in the 90s. Although, wait, hold on. When did Splash Mountain open in the 90s?
I think it was like 1990, right? I mean, it was early 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I'm wondering about opening date. July 17th, 1989. Okay,
89,
so that's
super close, yeah.
So, yeah, might as well have been 90s. I was like 10 at the time. I don't know.
Yeah. But, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, so that doesn't really line up. So, because I was thinking maybe that they were doing like a nod back to Splash Mountain.
Yeah.
But this seems like the license plate seems like, and I guess we'll have to see. But I kind of like I like this conspiracy theory because, like you said, it's, why give the rabbit a license plate with some numbers on it, right? Like
exactly.
It's very like, it builds on the lore of, hey, all of these things are cobbled together. But again, the license plate seems very deliberate in the choice, right?
And I've seen speculated too, though, that the 5/28 maybe is the date that they do start doing previews, and that 7/2 is the date that they open. So that would make it summer, right? If it's July 2nd. So, I mean, that's possible. They could start doing previews on 5/28 and then open on 7/2. I mean, it definitely could be possible. I mean, I like the theory of the West Coast and East Coast opening dates, but you're right though. That at that point, I mean, I feel like Memorial Day is like the official start to the summer, right? But it's not really.
Yeah, I guess for you it is. For us, it's still got another month.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, yeah, technically it's like, in June, but I feel like, my pool in my neighborhood gets opened on Memorial Day weekend, right? Like, so that's kind of like when the summer starts for us,
Yeah.
But
I'm
when
just praying that it doesn't snow when that weekend comes around. I'm not even joking. Like,
I know you're not joking. I know you're not joking. So yeah, so I mean, I guess we're gonna have to see. But I love some reckless speculation, and like you said, it feels too. Yeah, I mean, Disney does these things, and it feels too deliberate, like that they have that out there,
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else, like, because it's 5 digits, right? Like, what else would that? I mean, 52872. Because there's nothing. There's nothing really like that happened in 1972 in May
that would correlate with Disney, and I don't know. I just think I think this might be them just giving us a hint. It's interesting though that I feel like they usually don't. I feel like they usually don't, do the preview dates in there. But I mean, maybe they're at a point where they're pretty confident about the preview dates. So I don't know.
So I actually just found a website that lists all the things that happened on May 28th in Disney history.
Oh, okay.
And nothing happened in 1972.
Okay.
On May 28th.
So
but there's in 1960, the Disneyland opened the mine train through Frontierland.
Okay.
In 1966 was the Small World. Small World opened in Fantasyland in Disneyland.
Yeah.
On May 28th. And then 1981, Laura Bailey is born in Mississippi. I don't know why they put that on there. That's a weird reference.
What a weird. How did you find
1986 is Alice in Wonderland becomes the 5th Walt Disney classic to be released to video.
Okay.
1993, the Tower of Terror is opened in Florida. So again, none of these things relate in any way whatsoever to Splash Mountain. So I feel like I'm wondering if it's actually 2 separate dates, or like May 28th and then July 2nd.
I kind of feel like that's the good theory, right? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because like,
so see, we're doing our legwork here, people. We're not just like throwing it out here. We're trying to see what correlates.
We did actual research on this.
Yeah. I'm reading stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we read a website. We did we did a little bit of work. Oh man, I mean, I think we should stake our claim on what we think it's going to be, because I'm now convinced that it's going to be 5/28 preview and 7/2 opening date.
I'm still thinking they're going to do the East Coast West Coast thing, because like we said, they didn't close them down at the same time, but I feel like they're going to do one first and then do the other one, and not do a simultaneous opening.
Well, and while I would love to agree with you on that, Trevor, the difference, so there's like a 4-month difference between when they closed the one at Disneyland and when they closed the one at Disney World. So for I unless they caught up 2 months, then I don't know. I would think it would still be like a 4-month gap between when each one would open, but I don't know.
You're comparing apples to oranges though, because
it's a different ride.
They're not the same ride layout. They're not identical. So
yeah, that is true. That is completely true. So yeah, you know what? It's a good point, Trevor. So, okay, so you're going with the East Coast, West Coast. I'm going with the preview date, open date.
Here might be a fun twist too. Is they've shown these characters. So have they actually specified which Splash Mountain these characters are going to be in, or Tiana's Bayou's Adventure? Because I have to wonder.
I think it's supposed to be both, but
right, but I have to wonder if they're showing like if the license plate could be different
for the Disneyland
on
one,
East Coast versus West Coast.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So maybe they're not, or they've shown us one, but maybe it'll look different in the other one, or it'll be a different license plate, right?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, at the bottom of this article, it says opens at Disney World this summer and later this year at Disneyland. And also doesn't say where these are going.
So then, July for Disney World, and then maybe Disneyland will have
like October.
Yeah, but maybe maybe they'd have a different plate, right? Like,
maybe they have a different plate. Yeah, like
or
maybe
we're totally wrong about this altogether. But
I want to I want to believe. And the best part about this is it just might be some random numbers that they threw in there, and it's not a reference to anything. I just don't believe it. Like I don't.
Or it has references to like an address or something where because they do that too, right? Where they'll put like an address or they'll put like a reference to something around the developers, but unless you were there, you wouldn't get it, right? Like it doesn't necessarily have to be an open thing that everybody knows the reference, right?
No, that's true. That's true. I guess we're gonna find out. We'll see if we're right about this or not. But I'm hopeful that this is the case. Although I say that as we're going to be leaving a couple weeks before this, so it's kind of disappointing that we're gonna if it is going to be the preview at the end of May, that we would be missing that. But it is what it is. It'll still be there the next time we go, right?
Yeah, I mean, it gives you something to look forward to on your next trip.
Exactly. So, all right. Well, that was our fun conspiracy theory segment.
Take what you will from that.
Yeah. Why don't we skip the cruise line merch and talk about some Pixar merch?
I mean, yeah, that's fair because like after that last set of cruise line merch we looked at, like I feel like nothing's going to compare.
Yeah. They're still doing a lot of these Spirit jersey things, and people still like these things. I don't know. Is it still a thing?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, could somebody explain Spirit jerseys to me? Because I've never.
I don't get it. It's a little bit.
I don't get them. But
but I mean, listen, a lot of this is around Pixar Fest over at Disneyland, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they've got some cool merch going on here. They got a bucket hat. Damon's not here, but if he was, we could get him a Wilderness Explorers bucket hat.
I mean, I'd go for that. It's
not a bad looking bucket hat. Yeah.
Same with the jackets, or that's not a jacket. It's like a.
It's a quarter. It's a half zip. Yeah. It's not even a quarter zip. It goes halfway down. So I'm just scrolling down now too to this.
Wow,
Pixar painted. That's a loud shirt, man.
That Pixar shirt is wow. That we need to have that on the.
That's gonna be a picture.
One of the pictures on the podcast because.
I mean,
I love the juxtaposition of Sully's face and then Mei Ling from Seeing Red, the panda face. Like it's very
this feels like a shirt that John Lasseter would be wearing, because he always wore these kinds of shirts. Like this is very much up his alley if he was, still with Disney.
The Mike Wazowski hoodie is pretty crazy too.
I kind of like that one. I like that one more than the other one.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's some new Pizza Planet stuff.
Oh, okay.
I like Pizza Planet merch.
Is that a popcorn bucket of the Pizza Planet truck?
It looks like it.
Right? Or what else could it be?
Let me see.
Do they even say what it is? Tumbler jersey. They don't say.
Pizza Planet backpack, tumbler jersey, hat, and a few special shirts. So
I mean, I guess it could be it couldn't be really a sipper. Like, how would that be? That wouldn't work it has to be a popcorn bucket, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know what else that would be.
It's pretty cool though. I like it. Yep. They've been so on point with the popcorn buckets lately. Did you see the Jabba the Hutt one?
Yeah.
That one is amazing. I saw that in a video earlier today, and I was like, "Oh man, that's a great one."
Yeah, they've definitely been getting better at not making them so ridiculous that they don't even function as popcorn buckets. Like the Jabba one, actually a reasonable popcorn bucket, right?
Yeah, there's lots of room for popcorn.
Yeah.
I just like that you open his mouth to get the
Yeah.
popcorn out. That's
Preach it,
great.
yeah. A little weird, but still okay.
I mean, still great. I'm a fan. I'm happy with that. It's funny though, because I'm assuming I don't even see an article about that. Like Disney Parks Blog didn't put that out, but my assumption is that it's for May 4th, which I'm going to be there May 4th. May 4th is my first day, right?
Oh no,
so,
you're going to be there for the Star Wars craziness.
Well, that's why typically all that is Hollywood Studios. So we're avoiding Hollywood Studios that day and going elsewhere because that's where all the Star Wars crazy is going to be. But it's funny, when we booked, I didn't even think about that. Just didn't in any way think that was going on. It didn't cross my mind. Yeah,
because you're not that far into Star Wars that you think about May the 4th. I will point out that the Jabba the Hutt bucket is on the list or in the foodie guide that you listed here for.
Oh, it's in the foodie guide? Okay, so they did announce it on the Parks blog. I hadn't looked through the foodie guide yet. So, and funny enough, like this is some of the other sites that I will look at that are non-Disney sites are even covering this one, just because it's anytime there's anything Star Wars related, they always pick this stuff up because it's so in nerd culture in one way or another, right?
Mm-hmm. It's its own culture at this point. Like Star Wars is it's its own thing. So
because they also have a salvaged stormtrooper helmet popcorn bucket too. I don't know if you saw that one, which is pretty cool.
I did not, but actually, is
it in that article? Is it?
Yeah, I see it. Yeah, the salvaged stormtrooper helmet bucket, which I like that way better because it's actually like it's a bucket. Like
the Jabba the Hutt helmet, though.
No, but like a helmet would function as like it's reasonably functional. Like it's not taking something else and saying it's a popcorn bucket. It's like, if I had to carry popcorn in a helmet, I could do that. It's not suspending my disbelief, I guess.
Yeah, I get that. Did you see the Jabba one make sounds too?
Does it?
When you open its mouth, it.
Oh no!
Yeah, when you open its mouth.
All right, hold on, I gotta watch this.
I'm just listening to it now. Yeah, he literally does like the little the laugh.
Oh man.
That's amazing. Now it's okay. It's way cooler now, unless they just put that in the video. But I don't know. It feels like it was coming from the popcorn bucket when they played it in the video.
What?
So.
Yeah. Why would they do that and then not have it be
actually work like that? Yeah. I mean, and they have been doing like all the popcorn buckets now like light up and do whatever, right?
Yeah. Sound is actually one of the easier things to put into a popcorn bucket.
It's super easy, right? Okay, so I mean, we've just now moved on to the season of the Force foodie guide for Disneyland Resort, and that includes the Jabba the Hutt bucket. So,
I still like the Stormtrooper bucket is still my favorite.
You're still a bigger fan of that one?
Yeah, I would go for the Stormtrooper bucket helmet.
Yeah. Okay. It's interesting though. These are seemingly only at Disneyland, which why?
I mean, I guess they want to push it at Disneyland because,
right, but
they got fried chicken bows.
Why can't we have nice things at Disney World too?
I don't know. I just want a chicken bow now.
Oh yeah, well, okay. So we got a couple things here, right? Like the fried chicken bows. Yeah, I see that. That looks delicious.
Yep.
Oh wow, yeah, that looks really
spicy katsu sauce. Ooh, yeah,
is that good?
That's right in my alley.
They have a burger here. I like the watermelon slush with Death Star glow cube. I want a Death Star glow cube. I swear to you, all the stuff that we bought at Disney the past couple of years, my daughter's favorite thing was one of the glow cubes that we got at one of the restaurants. Like, by far.
Okay, so I will say this: we actually have a pretty substantial collection of glow cubes because
really.
When our son was younger, it's about the same age as your daughter. Same thing is that he loved the glow cubes, and so on a couple of trips we ended up like we got like 2 or 3 drinks that all had glow cubes in them, and then we brought them home, and we would use them in when we would carve our pumpkin at Halloween. We would actually put the glow cubes in the pumpkin because they change color and all that, and it was easier than lighting candles and all that. So we just threw like a couple of glow cubes in the bottom, and my son loved it. Like he loved having that for Halloween, but then also, he played with them for a while after we got them, because same thing. Like we have a couple that are like different shapes and whatnot. Not a Death Star one. I would go for a Death Star one. And there is a Millennium Falcon one too, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, there's my daughter, like, obviously we cleaned this off, right? But we cleaned it off, and then my daughter was like bringing it to bed with her, like as a nightlight.
Yeah, because it's just like a little LED light, right?
Yeah,
like,
she would be completely under her covers, and we would just see the light blinking from above the covers.
Yeah.
I mean, and I can pretty much guarantee you that we're going to get more of those on this next trip, because a couple of the places we're going to are going to have. I mean, I think Space 220 has some kids drinks there that have glow cubes. It's very very Space 220. So we're going to see. I don't know, but I'm sure we'll bring some more back.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think we might still have a few somewhere. Either that, or we may have thrown them out, because the batteries die eventually.
Yeah, they die. Yeah, they do die.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure we had them for quite some time. Like I said, long enough that we used them at Halloween because it was easier than lighting candles.
Yeah, no, it's a good idea, actually. I wouldn't have thought to do that. So they do also have a Grogu sipper too, which okay, cool.
Kind of over Grogu.
They played him out. They put him out too much.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with him as a character. It's just they've done a little too much with it.
I get it. I also too, they made like a Star Warsy themed like gingerbread house thing. It's not gingerbread, but it's like
that thing at the Grand Californian.
Yeah. 300 pounds of powdered sugar, 80 pounds of crisp rice cereal, 60 pounds of marshmallows, 100 pounds of dark chocolate.
And it looks like the Black Spire outpost.
Yeah, it looks awesome. It looks really cool. Like, that's a really cool, like, a diagram. I don't know. What do you call that? It's just a
diorama. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was going to call it, a diorama. But is it a diorama? I don't know.
I don't know. It's edible.
But don't go take a bite out of it. If you don't get kicked out of the park.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't get kicked out of the park. You get kicked out of the hotel.
Yeah. You get trespassed.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm actually going a little bit further up again. They're at.
Oh, sorry. I skipped a lot of stuff. Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out. There's this Kelto slush.
Okay, I knew you were going to look at this.
Yeah, like that looks wild.
Yeah.
It's plant-based, pandan-flavored horchata topped with cold brew.
Yeah. Is that the first picture or the second picture, I guess, is what you're asking, right?
I'm guessing it's this green thing.
I think it's the first. Well, they're both green, but I think you're right. The first one is that, because the second one is a green milk with chili seasoning and mango jelly.
Oh,
that looks like the second one. But yeah, the first one looks very cool.
Yeah, like it. I'm assuming if they actually had like if it was like an Instagram reel or something, that it would be like moving. Like it looks it looks like it's not quite mixed, and so like everything's kind of flowing together. Like
they put the cold brew on top, and it slowly kind of goes down and makes this really kind of cool look to it.
Yeah,
yeah. I saw that. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, Trevor's gonna want that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I don't even know. I mean, I like horchata, so I'm sure it would be good. But it's I don't even know if it would be like an amazing drink. It would just look neat. Like,
yeah, there's that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would definitely look cool. Yeah. Anything else on here you want to call out? Because we do have one other foodie guide for Earth Month.
Yeah, let's go to Earth Month, because I think I've hit my quota for Star Wars stuff for the day.
Man, you guys with Star Wars Star Wars just ruined.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Too much.
I want Rebels to be a thing again, but I also understand why Rebels can't be a thing again. And people are going to be like, why Rebels? It was such a good show. Like,
I mean, I heard there's a lot of buzz for that new, what is it? Is it a show? The Acolytes or whatever
the Acolyte, yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of buzz going on for that one. I saw somebody in the Discord wanted us to talk about it, but I have not watched the trailer for it. I just have heard that there's a lot of buzz. So
yeah, I saw that too. And sorry, I did not watch the trailer because it's going to take a lot for me to get back into Star Wars proper. For like, I have to be in the mood for it. And
that's fair.
I'm just not in the mood for it right now.
I understand. It's all good. Like, if they released another movie, would you see it?
Maybe.
Okay.
It's a definite, like, because I did watch the up to episode 9. Like I watched that whole thing. I mean, I don't know what they would have to do to get me to watch another. I feel like they'd have to actually go into the extended universe, which Disney has pretended does not exist.
Okay, that's fair.
Like, because you know, like that, how like there's the whole extended universe, and then when Disney bought it, they kind of like wiped all that out, right?
Yeah.
There was a bunch of stuff in there that I would have loved to see play out, but I feel like they'd have to go back in that direction before I'd be interested again. Because the extended universe had some really cool stuff in it that I don't think we'll ever see anything about ever again.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess you never know, but
yeah, I want to see them build a Sun Crusher for anyone who knows what a Sun Crusher is.
Okay. I don't, but I'm just scrolling through all these, by the way.
That's where my head is.
Yeah. I'm just scrolling through these all the way, by the way, and just looking for like the new ones, because usually we like to talk about new stuff. It's just repeat stuff, you know, why talk about it, right? Like they have this. I remember this honeycomb mousse thing that they had on top of a brownie. I remember that from last year, right? Mm-hmm. It's very cool. Don't get me wrong. I just, I want to look at new things. For example, this raindrop tart cake at Animal Kingdom Lodge. Which is a chocolate cake, pistachio crumb, passion fruit gel, vanilla cheesecake, and white chocolate mousse. It looks like those desserts that they have over at Pandora, right?
Yeah,
like it looks like it could be a Pandora thing.
Wait, you went really far down, didn't you?
Yeah, it's because there wasn't any new stuff until all the way down there.
No, there was. You missed the zucchini carpaccio.
Oh, did I? Did I miss that? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. I missed that.
This is at Tiffin's, and they specifically called out that they're using zucchini from the land.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. That's fun.
Yeah,
there's
the land zucchini, marinated tomatoes, candied pistachios, Castelvetrano olives, raisins, golden raisins, plant-based feta, pomegranate molasses, and crispy sweet potatoes. I was on board until the raisins. I was out.
Have you eaten at Tiffin's? Because I feel like Tiffin's is up your alley, but probably not your wife and kids' alley.
Yeah, The hard thing about Animal Kingdom is that we never think about sit downs when we're there.
Yeah,
and we really should. Like you're right. We should. I should actually go look further into their menu and see what they got. But you're right. I think I would really enjoy eating there. This particular thing, I was excited about it until, I would eat around the raisins. I just don't like raisins, but I do find it interesting that they're specifically, and it kind of makes sense for Earth Day, but they're calling out that, they're using zucchini from the land, which I'm guessing
why just the zucchini though? Why not the tomatoes too? And I'm sure they grow most of this stuff there, right?
I have a feeling it's a matter of production time, and they probably, tomatoes don't keep like zucchini. You can, I feel like they could, or the ratio of, how fast you can grow it versus keep it and all that. It's probably easier to say, something like a root vegetable, like a zucchini, or actually, zucchini is not really a root vegetable. But yeah, I'm guessing that because of the way they do the hydroponics and everything, they can grow them relatively quickly versus
that makes sense,
other vegetables.
Well, and when I took the behind the scenes tour, the tour guide told us that any of the stuff that they serve in the restaurants, they don't actually grow on the tour. They have a separate greenhouse where they actually grow stuff, not to ruin it for everybody.
Oh, I didn't assume because you don't see anybody in there harvesting stuff.
Yeah. I think they get some stuff from in there, but obviously they can't feed everybody with the little spots that they have in there. So
you don't see cast members yelling, "We got an order up on 7," as they're pulling, stuff off of the plants.
That'd be kind of funny actually, if that's how it works. The last one on here is Amarette's, again with the mini cakes, with the petite cake. And this one is the plant in the boot from WALL-E, and it's very cool. Yeah. Layers of carrot cake, cream cheese mousse, and pineapple jam. You had me until pineapple jam.
That's a weird choice.
Yeah, it is kind of weird, right?
For a carrot cake, they could have just left it at a carrot. Make it a really good carrot cake. You don't need the pineapple.
I do have to say that the boot is extraordinarily impressive.
You suppose it's all sugar?
It's got to be, right? It's got laces on it, though.
It's fondant.
It's probably fun. I don't know, but somebody had to make that, and it looks really cool.
I feel like it would be better if it was sugar instead of fondant. I mean, neither is a good choice, but like I would be more inclined to
just eat it.
Eat the sugar.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, so I got nothing else on this one, but yeah. So if you're there for the next month, if you're there for April, you can check out some special eats. There's always some sort of special thing going on.
Earth Day stuff is always nice. I like it.
Yeah, I will say, just let's address this, Trevor. So there was obviously a lot of news about Disney's lawsuit with the state of Florida being resolved.
Right.
We haven't really talked about that stuff, and because I kind of feel, and I think you probably do too, Trevor. Like, as much as we want to talk about this stuff, there's no way for us to avoid the politics involved with it, and we really don't want to talk about politics on the show.
Absolutely, yeah. It is far too political, and it's you're right. It's not that we are definitely paying attention to it, but for us to get into the conversation, like you said, it would end up being very polarizing.
Yeah,
and I don't think either of us want this to be what the podcast is about. So
absolutely,
yeah, I'm sure a lot of our listeners were wondering about it, or everyone's
are they going to address it? Yeah,
heard about it. So we're addressing it by saying yes, we're aware of it, but we're not going to talk about it.
I'll say this, Trevor. Right, like it seems like both sides kind of got tired of being embroiled in a lawsuit, and I think Disney's ready to expand significantly at Disney World, right? And I think part of this was Disney's ready to move forward, and they didn't want this hanging over their head anymore. And part of it is that they've talked about they're going to put a new agreement in place with the new board that's there, a new development agreement. So to me, this signals that they're getting ready for a large expansion. They're getting ready for what they're going to do, because, and I'm sure Disney probably shared their plans with the board and with the state and everything, and said, listen, let's stop this. Let's, stop this lawsuit. Let's settle this. And then we'll start working on this stuff and hire thousands of more people and spend, billions of more dollars in the state. And that's what the gist of what I have read is.
Yeah, and I guess you're right. It makes sense that Disney doesn't want this muddling their plans for expansion. What I think it means, or what I hope it means for us, because at the end of the day is regardless of any of the back and forth about it, is I'm always trying to think about what does this mean to me, or how does this affect me going to Disney. The whole thing was around Reedy Creek for if anybody who knows that Reedy Creek is the entity that has run the fire department and a lot of the infrastructure support at Disney. I just hope that continues to be invisible to us, or as invisible as possible. That those services continue to run and it doesn't negatively impact the experience at Disney World because of back and forth, right? That's what I take from it is, it seems like things are in a state where they're going to, work together, but, it's not going back to the way it was. But like I said, the whole reason for this whole thing was,
political stuff that we're not going to get into.
It was not it's not worth getting into that, but hopefully this means that going forward, we don't have to worry about finding out that actually they don't fire departments are no longer supported by Disney, or that they're supported by the city of Orlando, which would have an impact on operations at Disney, because they have had to, I just think about times where you hear about things that have lit on fire at Disney, because it does happen.
We haven't had one recently. It was happening a lot there for a while.
Since because there was the cat behind the castle caught on fire because of the fireworks. Yeah. And that's why they have the extra sprinklers now.
Yeah.
But hopefully this means just going forward that it's still, that infrastructure continues to be essentially invisible to park guests, right?
Yeah,
you don't want it to become something that you notice.
Yeah.
Right.
And you hope that the board that's in place now is more concerned about developing the parks and allowing them to, expand the park significantly, rather than, whatever other motivations that they might have. So that's, I think the hope. Like you said, before it was kind of invisible and it's come to the forefront because of this whole fight. But, I think this is definitely a positive thing. I tend to think that they probably already have some sort of development plan sketched out already, or else they wouldn't have agreed to this settlement with them. That's what I'm guessing, that Disney shared their plans, and they're
kind of going back to square one with working with them again. Like
exactly.
It's not
exactly. So that's all we're going to say about that. But we talked about
no more drama. Move on.
it's good news. It's definitely good news. And I just think it means that Disney's getting ready to really do a lot of work, and which is good. But I think we're all excited for the next thing. So
it all kind of ties in with everything that we've kind of been looking at on the horizon, right?
Yeah.
That they've talked about all this money that's being invested. We know that D23 is coming up. We're all kind of waiting for them to like the whole thing is they've been doing a lot of the blue sky announcement stuff, which is great. And, it's lovely to theorize about it, but I think everybody's kind of waiting for something really concrete. Like, hey, this is the next,
this is what we're doing. Yeah.
like when they announced, Galaxy's Edge, it was like, we're doing this is coming. And, and there was all the hype around it. I think everyone's kind of waiting for that next thing. And I think that this whole Reedy Creek thing has been, it hasn't been, a roadblock so much as it's, something that they, like you said, something that they didn't want to have to be dealing with while they're trying to do this next level of expansion that they're planning, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And to do this next expansion, they're going to need the cooperation of the board, right? So that's part of it, right? So so I think that's why we're kind of at where we're at now. And I think, obviously the state of Florida, I mean, Disney's the largest taxpayer in the entire state. So they have a reason to want to cooperate with them as well. So
yeah, but I mean, look at what's happened in California with Disney, right? Yeah. Like they're
probably not the largest taxpayer in the state there, though.
Yeah, but I mean, Disney still has a pretty substantial impact on Anaheim, and Anaheim still
gives them a hard time. Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, let's wrap this thing up.
Understandable.
Yeah, understandable. Yeah, I get it. Let's wrap this thing up.
Yeah. All right. So, as usual, if you guys want to reach out to us, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We love getting your questions and your trip reports and all that kind of stuff. So, you can always find us there. And if you want to find us on social media, you can find us on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast. You can find us on YouTube as Welcome Home Podcast. And you can find us on Instagram as Welcome Home Pics. On Facebook, make sure you check out our group, Welcome Home Disney Waitlist, where, we've got a lot of great listeners that talk about all their Disney experiences. And there's lots of great discussion about people planning their own trips and just Disney stuff in general in there. So, definitely, if you're looking for a good group on Facebook, that's the one to find. Ignore all the other ones, just join our group. And if you would like to support the show, you can go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com and check out our different merchandise there. We've got fanny packs, or whatever you want to call them now. Someone's going to call me out on what they're called, and I can't remember.
Well, listen, we're not going to wear them, so why should we know their name?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I'll get one and wear it ironically. I don't know. But so we got stuff like that, but there's mugs and t-shirts and other great stuff on the store that if you're needing some stuff for your trip, or you just want to have a mug that you can enjoy sipping your favorite beverage while you listen to the show, have a look on the store and you can get something like that. And you can also check out our Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/welcomehomepod and check out our different levels of Patreon support there, which have exclusive perks that can only be obtained from Patreon. And everyone who supports us through Patreon also gets access to the Discord server, which we had mentioned previously. There's other discussions that go on there, not just Disney, but there's lots of off-topic stuff. But then also, again, people sharing people sharing stuff that they're doing. I actually wanted to make a quick shout out to Blake, who has been on the Golden Button Detours with Damon. He was sharing, apparently he's taking the train to Disney.
Yeah.
Amtrak. Yeah.
I think he posted in the group too, right?
Yeah, he did. But yeah, he was also, I saw he was talking about it on the Discord as well, that apparently this is something he's done before, which I thought was very interesting because I never considered taking a train all the way to Orlando, because
you wouldn't, but
I wouldn't. But well, I mean, if it was a high speed train, I might actually consider it as part of a larger trip if I was doing something like that. But kind of a neat idea that, you know, I know, you know, flying into Orlando is a thing. I never considered riding the train to Orlando. So, you know, shout out to Blake for sharing that with us, because it was a unique perspective on getting to Disney.
I think it was like, he said it was like 13 hours it was going to take or something like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, train trips generally are not quick, but, you know, you kind of plan for the train as being part of the trip as well, right?
Yeah. I mean, and truthfully, 13 hours is not that much longer than what it would take for him to drive there from where he lives. So it's, you know, it's marginal.
It's a lot easier too.
It's a couple hours more. Yeah. And it's easier. You don't have to deal with driving. You just kind of sit back and relax. Right.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, you know, you see stuff like that on the Discord. So if that's of interest to you, you know, make sure you check out our Patreon, and, you know, you can get access to the Discord server. Last but not least, you can find us on iTunes and Spotify and those kinds of places. When you do, please leave us a 5-star review, because it helps other people find the show. And, you know, we like to see the numbers go up, because, you know, the AI tells us that big numbers are better, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, but no, we do really like, help other people helping support the show. You know, if you're listening to the show, just leave us a review, because, we'd like to try and get this out to as many people as possible. Yeah. Do we have any new reviews this week?
We actually don't. No, we don't have any. It'd be nice if somebody would go and give us a review, though. So, go do that for us, please.
Yeah, because we do read them out on the show. So, if you want to have your review read out on the show, leave us a review.
Unless it's not a 5-star, unless it's like a really funny 1-star. If it's a really funny 1-star,
Tom reserves the right to decide whether or not it gets read out on the show. And if you don't leave 5 stars, it's less likely he's going to read it on the show.
I mean, if you leave 4 stars, I'll think about it if it's funny. But just leave 5 stars.
That's dangerous territory. Don't leave 4 stars. Leave 5 stars.
5 stars. No. Do 5 stars only. And also, don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you can be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube Music, any podcast app that exists. You can find us. Just search for Welcome Home and, look for the Disney one. Just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast is for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company. As such, all opinions we express on the show are our own. So please consult a Disney cast member or DVC cast member for more information about anything we talked about today. Huge thank you to DVC Resale Market for sponsoring this episode. Go check them out, dvcresalemarket.com/welcome home. The welcome home is very important. So go check them out for your buying or selling needs. And of course, World of DVC, which of DVC Resale Market is part of, for all your DVC needs, financing and renting and all that fun stuff. So join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert Awol, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl.